do IT better. Welcome to our podcast designed for digital product builders, product owners, startup founders, and everyone who's into product building. You'll meet our colleagues from Polcode's product design and development teams. We'll be sharing our experiences gained during managing complex IT projects for global clients in SaaS businesses, fintech, education, e-commerce, and many more. Since Polcode's foundation in 2006, we've completed over 1,000 projects. By putting the best quality, partner approach, and trustworthiness on top of our services, we are now ready to share our tips and stories we've gained. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. My name is Joanna Jabłońska, JJ for short, and I will be the host of the new tech podcast called Do IT Better. The podcast is created by Polcode and all the amazing people that work here. Every episode, I will have the pleasure to talk with great individuals and real experts in their fields. Welcome to the second episode of our podcast. In this episode, we will be delving into the topic of strategy, one of the fundamental aspects of successful product development.
We will explore the key differences in strategy between big corporations and startups and what it takes to build a solid strategy that will set you up for success. We will also discuss the various tools that can be used to develop and refine your strategy. Then we will turn our attention to product discovery, a crucial step in the product development process shortly. We will explore how to identify the right product to develop and what factors to consider when making this decision.
Finally, we will also take a deep dive into the topic of what it takes to start making profit of your product. So whether you're a seasoned product development professional or just starting out in the field, this episode has something for you. Tune in now to learn more about the ins and outs of product development strategy, product identification, discovery, competitors, and many more. Hello everyone, my name's Joanna, aka JJ. Apart from being a host on this podcast, I am a delivery team leader overseeing development and management teams. I bring together delivery managers, developers, and clients to successfully execute and deliver projects.
Hello, my name is Miłosz Lisiecki. I'm a manager in Polcode, leading our PMO that works on our customers' products development. Experienced in many business fields, working previously also as PO and developer. I'm especially passionate about agile methodologies and NI.
To establish a sense of purpose and direction, both of which are critical to achieving success, we usually begin with product vision. So, Miłosz, how to build it from the ground up?
Well, we talked a little bit about this in the previous episode. We talked about defining market gap, finding our audience. We talked a little bit about finding a competition advantage. It helps to find a rest of the strategy because those elements are actually part of the strategy of the company. So how to build it from the ground up? Begin with the strategy and maybe a vision. Let's begin with the strategy here. I believe that you can feel that strategy is something that maybe we would not like to define theoretically that much. I would try to focus on practical aspect of this. And well, we have different dimensions of strategies. That's the first thing I would mention. Typically, we have 5 elements. 5 dimensions. So the strategy should contain some kind of mission of the company. So what would you like to achieve? Maybe. What's your ambitions? Then you have to precise a little bit, at least, your domain. So, for example, IT, or for example, retail. Or maybe, if it's possible, you can go a little bit deeper. So find that it's going to be IT product that is specialized in something. Then you have to try to identify your strategic advantage over your competitors. So simply, what will cause better revenue and your market success. And this is mainly what we were talking about in the previous episode, trying to identify users, because in IT products, users are the main reason to focus when we are talking about the strategic advantage. Then you have to create some kind of strategic goals for yourself. So again, it will come from mission and it might be your ambitions. And of course, to make it doable, you need to have a functional plan. This everything needs to be created on the level of the company and on the level of the strategic business unit, or it might be also created on some operational functional level. It depends, of course, of the size of the company. If your company is a startup, for sure, you will start with whole company level, and then with the growth, you will think about different divisions that you will probably create in time. And to apply those 5 elements that I have mentioned in the IT, we usually start with the domain and mission. Domain is something that must be oriented around users. As I said, to create REST, you need to expertise the idea. So deep dive into it and define how to work on it in the competitive market. So what I'm trying to say about here is to try to find yourself in the market game. Also, you need to understand how competitive your market is, your business field. And I believe, well, it's something that maybe we will talk about a bit later.
Yes, definitely. I guess we would like to find out how crucial the competitors are and how we should treat them. But as you said, I guess we can focus on this later.
So, coming back, obviously, you need to find your strategy. This will be a work that will take you probably a lot of time and a lot of tries and fails. But I will advise maybe to start with your innovation strategy, especially in the IT market. There are different strategies. There is, for example, this red ocean versus blue ocean strategy that's saying that the whole business area is a red ocean in which you need to find your blue ocean, so some kind of area in which you can expertise. Maybe you can find your market niche. Maybe you would like to work in some kind of innovative cluster. So maybe in your real life area, in your city, for example, there is some kind of innovative cluster that helps companies to grow, to launch their business, but also supports them. For example, they have very good price servers available for IT companies, or maybe they have some machines that will help you in other way. Maybe there are another companies that are working in similar business fields, and you can find some friends that will support you in working and trying to fight for your common position in the business field. So there are different strategies. I would mention maybe one more innovation strategy that is open innovation. It's rather for bigger companies or those that are highly capitalized at the beginning. So the company is searching and using innovative ideas created around the company. So it means that usually they create some kind of open contests in the market. They are looking for different ideas and they are trying to find which of them will suit them. But here, the most important is that you have to be very open and very clear to all the people that you are meeting with all the steps and all possibilities that you give to them and all the reasons also for your choices.
I believe that, once again, you are a step ahead of what we are going to discuss. We will later on pay attention to see if there are any differences depending on the size of your company. So good that you already bring this up.
When we are talking about the strategy, it's hard to talk in super generic way because you will have different approaches to different sizes of company and also to the different places in the lifetime of the company that each company is. But these are some general information. And coming back to these general things, I believe that when you will have your innovation strategy, and IT market, I believe, is crucial to have one, then you need to create some kind of operational strategy. It's something that maybe is not the first step, but I believe it's very, very important. And it will also tell a lot about your possibilities to stay in the market for a long time. So operational strategy, it should contain some kind of logistic strategy. And also in IT, we have some logistic, obviously, even if it's not a real supply chain, I mean, existing in real life, but more, zero and ones logistic, but still it's a logistic. Then we need to create some financial strategy. I believe it's crucial for the existence of the company. And of course, in IT, we need to have technical strategy. You need to really deeply talk with your IT guys, with your tech leads to define your technical stack, for example. And here, it's better not to save money, I would say. Then you need to have business strategy also. So that aspect of the strategy, and it should include also acquisition. You need to understand how you want to gain money, just simply where you want to have your customers from. They will not fall like the rain from the sky. You need to find them. And maybe there is one more thing I would like to mention about these strategies that are 5 Ps. These are the 5 aspects that you need to, or things that you have to find when you are defining your strategy. It was defined by Mintzberg, and those 5 P's are plan, pattern, ploy, position, and perspective. So plan is obvious. Pattern is something like, for example, innovation strategy. So some kind of pattern that maybe is existing already in the market that you would like to repeat, but in your business field. Or maybe there is already some inspiration that you will find in market. Market needs, I mean, people like patterns because they are helping them to understand things. So when you will create something completely innovative, it might be just simply not understood by people. Then you need ploy. So this is what I said about the operation strategy. You need to have a tactical plan for taking a competitive advantage in the market. And you need to find your place in the business environment. So that's the 4th P, position. So it means that you need to figure out who's around you in the business area, in the business field that you are going to expertise. And of course, you need to have a perspective. You are not doing something only now, you are doing something for the future. It's something that probably you want to exist for a longer time and you want it to give you profits for a longer time. So you need to understand how you want to develop. I will talk a little bit more about this, but here is also one important thing when we are talking about IT products, and that thing is being scalable. And well, above those things, the first step, I believe, it should be your IT specialization. In Polkut, we are doing IT, and we are delivering customers IT products. We are not doing ice creams. And we are doing this for a reason, because just simply we know how to do IT products and we don't know how to do ice creams. So this should be your first steps when you are thinking about your business and your product. Do something that you can expertise in.
I guess the only area in which ice cream and IT projects would come together is e-commerce business or any other business idea surrounding ice cream. I guess I can volunteer. I'm a big fan here. But Miłosz, the thing I'm thinking about right now, there's this saying that size does not matter, but I somehow have a gut feeling that in the context of strategizing, it might be actually worth our attention. So I wanted to ask you about how huge multinational corporations that dominate markets, how they approach formulating comprehensive strategies.
Well, in big companies, they usually have already defined their company strategy. Usually, of course, there are some companies that may not have and they had just like to grow, but I would say they are just maybe not long in the market and they were what we call unicorns. So the big companies usually they have easier on one hand and harder on another. Harder because their strategies must be much more complex. They usually have full business units working on that. I mean, on the strategy, especially those big, really big corporations. And here they need to adjust. They rather focus on adjusting, trying to find some other areas in which they might expertise. Often in those business units, BAs, so business analytics, and POs, so product owners, are somehow part of them, even if not officially. But it would be good actually for them to be a part of those business units working on the strategy, because that's the level. The strategic level is where they should be properly empowered. By that, I mean that good product owners should be empowered to have their own decisions. So they need to work closely with the strategy. And this is showing how strategy is important for your product, how close the strategy and product are. The big corporations, big companies usually have defined their mission and their domain or domains already. They also have a very clear strategic goal, and they also, by being that big and when the wallet is diverse, they have some procedures and standards. So the functional layer is fully covered. So that's what I said, it's easier for them. Even if they would like to go to another business field in which they are not expertise yet, they have already standards, they have already procedures that they could apply and try to, go and use with. Of course, there is also still chance for the smaller companies because you may think that the big ones are well better prepared for the market. Yes, maybe they are better prepared for the market's game, but on the other hand, they are too big. They are so slow usually. They cannot do adaptation so quickly as the small ones. So it's like in the theory of evolution. And, these natural theories are usually somehow surprisingly applicable to economy. So it means that maybe we live in some kind of jungle still in that way. But, those who can easily adapt, they will win, as Carol Darwin said. So the static market is something comfortable for the big companies, and the wind of changes flows for the innovation. So that's why we say this changes and dynamic market is a chance. So guys, if you are in the small companies running in the new business, especially now in this very dynamic times, embrace the change and then penetrate the market for your chances. Try to expand the market, grow your product, and finally, diverse. These are the crucial steps.
Remember that one of the key steps is a clear understanding of what is to be achieved, thus, having a vision is crucial. As a next step, you need to come up with the strategy. Make sure that it is designed in such a way which is aligned with the vision. Once the strategy has been developed, how can it be effectively utilized to achieve the desired goals and outcomes? But when you're answering the question, let me ask a few more. The thing that would be interesting here is I would like to know if it is a complicated process when you start implementing it, and are there any factors that we need to consider when thinking about the success or failure?
So, besides what I have said about the strategy and applying a constant adaptation of the strategy, also, I would say having a vision is crucial. And this vision needs to be effective. And you need to focus also on the quality on this vision and how to create a vision. So, vision needs to be created around the market gap that you have defined. So, what we said in the last episode, saying that it's all about users. So your vision must be also around your user. By creating your vision, you need to use your intuition, because this is connected strongly to what I said, that you need to work also in your area of expertise. Your intuition, it's something that is connected to your experience. So if you have experience in IT, probably your intuition will guide you a little bit also how to work on this area. And if you wouldn't have this experience in this ice cream field, then your intuition would not help you probably that well. That's why it's so important. So it's also about the level of compromising. There will be a little bit more about this. Intuition is also something that is not often mentioned in the literature. So this is like advice from me and from my experience. Here, I try to use intuition at my work often, and I would like to encourage you to do a similar thing. Then, of course, you need to have product idea. So again, it's all about users. You need to verify if it's strategically. So here we are coming back to the first part of this episode again, and technically possible. And what is very important, your vision needs to be documented. And at the beginning, you should start with this 1-2 sentence statement would fit here. And of course, your vision needs to be announced publicly or at least inside your enterprise. So, to make your strategy doable, you need to just simply have your vision. You might be confused otherwise or unsure, just simply, if you wouldn't have vision. You need to have knowledge. Lack of knowledge causes anxieties. You need to have initiative, because otherwise it creates inside your company especially resistance, also inside of you also. You need to have resources, because without them you will find a frustration, you will risk bankruptcy also, for example. And you need to have action plan, because without this you will have a false start, or also frustration, or high internal uncertainty, or other kind of bad things that you wouldn't like to have. And that's what I'm saying now. It's known as the Gnoster model for managing complex change. And the change is something that will encourage you to create a business plan.
I guess that, we can all agree that when it comes to product development, translating a vision and later a strategy into a tangible product, that's definitely quite a multifaceted process. So I'm sure you are familiar with some methods or tools that could help to ensure that the product actually aligns with the organization's vision and the objectives. So could you give us any examples?
There are different methods defined in the literature, above which I would say the 3 V's is something that you would need to apply for sure. So you need to apply 3 V's. So it's vision that needs to be changed to the value and needs to be validated. And it needs to be, again, changed the results of this validation into the vision, and this again into value, and then again to being validated, and again vision, value, validate, and repeat till the end of the time. It's what we said actually in the previous episode about the customer feedback loop. It's one of the strategic ways how to apply these 3 V's in the user context and the product context. You can also apply very fast and fun exercise actually that is called product box. Product box is very simple. It's saying that you, with probably other visionaries that you have around you, are requested to create a box of your product, the cover of your product, the first page of your product, some kind of graphical picture that will represent it. If you have the book, well, we are saying that you shouldn't judge it by your cover, but actually this saying exists because people do it. So here in the business, you need to not fight with the people, as we said, but rather do what they usually do. So you need to focus on real people actions. And that's why it's good to create some kind of cover even if you are not going to use it, even if your product is totally virtual, it's good to create this, because on this cover, usually you place some kind of values, some kind of ideas, some catchy things about your products that you would like to use to interest your users. So this product box will help you to define those things simply. And then the most commonly used, and it's done for the reason, there is a method called business canvas. So we will talk about those typical 9 factors of vision. It's really worth it to use it. Then there is also one method that is similar to business canvas but much shorter. It's called crossing the chasm, and you may know it also as chat in the elevator. So it's the idea that you have like 10, 15 seconds being in the elevator with some, big fish, and you would like to present your idea during this short period of time. And for that, you need to apply very short standard saying like who needs, then what kind of product you are going to create, what kind of key value it will have, and how it's different to competitors, and also shortly define who your competitors are. And as example, I wrote here as notes to this episode that maybe Facebook now could create this elevator chat shortly like this. So for the companies who want to advertise, Facebook was modified or created. That is a social media which knows people behaviors based on their behavior in the web. It's different to other social media because it has so many users of different types that it can model people's behaviors in many different ways so that the commercials will be targeted precisely. And this is the shortly 2 sentence description of what actually Facebook is gaining money on. It's that simple, and your idea should be also that simple. I have no doubts that what I said, it's part of the meta strategy. And this kind of exercises also that I just said, so trying to name some more or less visible strategy aspects of the interesting companies around you, or just simply known, is a good exercise also, because you will find those patterns that I said. You will find maybe some inspirations. Maybe you will find market gaps. Maybe you will find also users' behaviors by that. So I fully recommend, and I do it constantly, to be honest. When I'm thinking about some companies, I'm just trying to figure out what's their idea, what's behind all of this. What was also, I'm checking, for example, what was research, what is their lucky guess in what I'm seeing.
Well, you illustrated your point with an example of a company that's definitely successful. They definitely have their strategy in place. But what about the case when there is none? There's no strategy, no vision, maybe, because the company is just starting to operate and grow.
Yeah, and this situation is something what we have usually in the startups. We say that startups are the battlefield, and the battlefield is done on the different areas because you still don't have your strategy very deep in core of the organization. As I said, it's a factor for success because it may help you in the dynamic market, especially, or very innovative market. So the startups needs to focus, and I guess there are 2 main strategies on how to create your product, to create your strategy. First is what I would call wishful thinking. So how we want to be. Here, you need to try to define those points that I said at the beginning and try to go deeper and deeper in the iterative way. So, this 3Vs way with those points. So, you need to use Canvas, other tools, try to look at the idea of as many angles as possible. But here, remember, when you're looking at too many angles, it's also, well, something that may cause some decisions troubles. So remember, you're a manager, so you need to manage, not only execute.
So it would be safe to say that there is some common denominator for big corporations and smaller companies, right?
Yes, in general, the tools that are used in the small companies and big fish, they are the same. They are all the same. We are all using the same books, the same methods, the same ideas. They only do it in different scale. And when I said that the one idea, one way of working is this wishful thinking, I came here with the idea of Polish startup that is well known in the world, I guess now. It's Booksy. They have defined themselves like that. We are an award-winning software startup dedicated to providing business solutions for the health and beauty industry. We developed a simple mobile management system for service professionals. That's all. That's their key value. That's their strategy in short words. So it's saying a lot about them as a startup being very wishful because they define already at the beginning that they are award-winning software startup. So it means that they want to deliver high quality code. They want to deliver high quality solutions. They then define what kind of solutions they want to focus on. So the health and beauty industry. They also said how this solution needs to be. So it needs to be simple. It needs to be focused on mobile. It's also very important. They narrow down this idea in that word. Is going to be focused on the management side. When we are using Booksy as unprofessionals, we see this customer size, but look, they are not saying anything about customers here. They are saying only that it's a management system for service professionals. So they are focusing here also on where they are going to gain money, because they are gaining money on their customers. And the second idea is that one that is oriented on the product. So they have very clear product vision, how this product is going to be exactly. And here, first example from the beginning, is Spotify. They you for sure watch this Netflix series. If not, then as product owners, it's your homework. Even though maybe just first 3 episodes should be enough. Anyway, they had this first idea at the beginning. Everything was adjusted to this idea. They strongly believed in this area, validated ideas, but they might be compromised only with life that matters after trying other solutions. So everything is defined around the business product vision here. And you cannot compromise much. You need to know exactly what this product is going to look like exactly. You may not know all the technical aspects here at the beginning, but you need to know very precisely what you're going to create.
In the previous episode, we talked about customer feedback loop and the necessity of constantly checking with users what they need in the product for it to be appealing. Having a vision alone is not enough, as it is also important to identify the value proposition and to validate it before executing the plan, with emphasis put on similar recurrence of the 3 V's. To assist defining the key elements of our business, you can use the module called Business Canvas. So, at a fundamental level, how would you identify the main goal of a company? After we have the strategic objectives identified, how is company going to begin operating and processing?
Well, there is, in capitalism at least, there is one main purpose of any business activity. Any. Believe me, any. Now at least. It's to get a revenue. So after you define how you want to work, you just need to focus on getting a revenue. And also when you are creating these ideas, you also need to focus on how it's going to get money for itself, for existence, and for yourself. Please remember here that you're creating your business for people. That, as a result, is going to be creative for yourself.
I don't know if I'm not being idealistic here, but I want to dig deeper to make sure that maybe there is something more to it, or would you say with 100% certainty that this is the sole purpose? Maybe there is some space for creating some sustainable value in the long run.
Well, we have different factors that we can consider. We have different business models, of course. You have foundations. Some companies are applying CSR or even are focused on CSR. Some companies are focused only on R&D, with even maybe sometimes getting to dead end with those research. You have some really different objectives and key results, so OKRs in your products, in your vision. But all of this is to get some kind of revenue. I'm not saying that this revenue always needs to be money. It's sometimes different things. We have different motivations sometimes. But in general, all is to get a revenue still. And here, if you don't believe me, I could recommend one book. The first part of it is fully focused on this, what I'm saying, that capitalism is the system that is oriented around the revenue. And this book is called Drive, created by Daniel H. Pink. He's saying a little bit about non-revenue based motivation also. But I believe it's not what is happening right now in the world, still yet at least.
So, assuming that revenue is the main driver for any company's operation, how can a company nurture a product so that it becomes a reliable source of profit and success?
Here, I would maybe try to consider and apply McKinsey's 10 rules of growth that cover and summarize what I have said so far, actually. So, first, you need to put your competitive advantage. That's the start. And at the beginning, you need to have already winning formula. And this formula need to be scalable. What it means scalable? So it means that you can enlarge it with similar pattern. That's why you need it to have also your pattern in company. So it means that you begin with something simple. We say even sometimes it might be a little bit primitive. Of course, it needs to be primitive in what will not cause your users fails with gaining users. And it needs to be scalable. So you need to build around the first idea another versions, another ideas. Then you need to make the trend your friend. It means that you need to prioritize. That's what's profitable. It's good sometimes to try to be in the fast growing markets because this will help you to gain a lot of money at the beginning. Of course, those fast growing markets are also more risky. So here you should consider your knowledge and your intuition. Then you need to outgrow your peers. So it means that it's not enough to go with the flow. You need to be a little bit over it, at least in your business niche. So that's what we called the red ocean versus blue ocean strategy. You need to be expert in something, or it doesn't need also that you have to be expert in some very specific field. You may be expert in the way how you act also, how you deliver, how you are working in your very close business environment only. But you need to have some kind of advantage. Or at least, well, sometimes you can copy, of course, others if the market is very fastly growing. But this is risky. This is risky because then you can find in some way, in some point in which the market is slowing down. And in that moment, you can have troubles because someone might be better in something than you were. Then you need to focus on the growth in your core industry. You cannot win without it. So you have, again, to have your expertise and you need to, they say, turbocharge your core. You need to look a little bit also beyond your core, nurture growth in different business areas around you. But still, you need to grow where you want. You need to focus on growing where you have an ownership advantage. Yes, so again, your expertise in what you're doing. You need to be a local hero, what they said. So you need to commit to winning on the home front. So you have for sure your environment around you. So, you know, ask them to support you. Your friends, your people around for sure will want to help you in any way if they will see that you are strong, that you're some kind of hero that is fighting with the market, in the market, but with the market also. Then go global if you can beat local. So it means that you should expand as fast as possible. This idea that you have should be transferable. You should have to find shortly transferable advantage to the different countries, different regions, different cities sometimes. If we are talking about IT market, it's also applicable, of course, because we also work rather locally usually. Then you need to try to combine healthy organic growth with serial acquisitions. So it means that you need to acquire constantly. You need to find new markets, new opportunities to grow, new customers, new other ways of thinking, but still remembering what's your core, of course. And it's also, if needed, sometimes you need to shrink to grow, and it's okay. You need to understand that sometimes a little fail might be a reason, an opportunity to grow also. It's the growth is never constant. It's a sum of the growth and fails, but the fails should be smaller, just simply to have a success.
Can we explore the potential outcomes of disregarding the organization values during the strategy development process?
While applying those 10 McKinsey's rules of growth, you need to remember also about one thing, that you need to control your balance sheet. I know, very economical thing, but you need to remember about this. It needs to be part of your finance strategy also. So you need to control your costs. And here, very important rule. One of the most important from my studies, I remember still professor saying the cost winner is a market winner. So you need to remember about this, and you need to also control your investments. Investment is cost. And of course, you need to control your profit, and the profit needs in the longer perspective to be higher than your costs. And one more thing regarding actually all of what I've said in this episode, I was talking a lot about business perspective. Your business should be like that. Your business should be like that. Business in English has two meanings actually. Business means like whole company, corporation, but it also may mean very specific business. And this very specific business in more complex companies is a product. Product means business. Business is product. You can separate usually a little bit somehow product from your whole corporation, from your whole enterprise, but your business might be a product when you are, for example, a startup. So please remember that all of what I said right now is applicable both to the whole company as the whole existence and also as to the product itself.
Remember that the core goal of any business is to generate revenue. Be aware that you need to put the emphasis on your core operations. However, you should not be afraid to look beyond and explore other opportunities as well. Be prepared and do it a smart way. Make sure to remain scalable and maintain flexibility so that you can transfer to other areas if it is beneficial. With a well executed plan and willingness to adapt, you will be able to achieve the organic growth within the most dynamic market. So, viewers, I think we covered quite a bit of material today regarding product development, strategy, and whatnot. So, how would you sum up the key conclusions?
Make sure that you have a vision that becomes a doable strategy. Repetition is a key. You need to repeatedly go through 3 V's, so vision, value, validation, and so on. Apply the 5 P's to the strategy. You need to have a plan, pattern, ploy, position, and perspective, and use your intuition and experience in your area of expertise. Feel free to reach for various tools that would make the process easier for you. An example could be business canvas model. Never neglect the core operations, but stay on the lookout for new opportunities in your other areas. And find your optimal pace, but be prepared to adapt to changing market conditions.
Miłosz, thank you so much for joining me today on the episode. It was a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So now you are all armed with the tools to build a killer strategy. So don't be afraid to go forth, strategize, and conquer. Thank you so much for tuning in into another episode, and we will catch you next time on Do IT Better. Miłosz, thank you once more.
Once again, thank you for having me. And we are hearing in the next episode, as far as I know.
Yes, that's correct. In our next episode, we will explore the ins and outs of product discovery in order to learn how to translate the prepared vision and strategy into a preliminary action plan. Thanks for tuning in today. Feel free to share your ideas in the comments and talk to you next time.